but we need to see what the guys back home can do, and what we can deliver on coming tomorrow.
Duane, with it being a World Cup year, is there a bit more of a geest in the camp, for a lot of, quite a few of the guys that are, who are more, let's say, fringe oaks, who may be trying to push for places on that plane to France? And is there a bit more of a mood in the camp than in normal years?
Yeah, I would think so. I think obviously the big thing is everyone's pushing for a spot. You might look at it in a different way and say there's certain guys who's nailed down their positions, but from our side as players, everyone's still pushing for a spot and pushing for a starting spot, and not just starting spot, but getting selected for the World Cup squad. So I think there's a good mix of what you mentioned, fringe players and guys who's regular starters, but everyone's pushing one another to become better players, and to play together as a whole, and the team together. So I think there's a good vibe in the squad, and everyone's enjoying it.
Duane, just talking about that pushing for spots and looking at next week. Obviously, part of the team has already gone to New Zealand, and actually quite a few of the guys in the team are going to be in the starting lineup for the All Blacks test.
You know the team.
Eh?
You know the team.
So anyway, what I'm trying to ask is, you've probably been in those teams where guys kind of almost have their own individual ambitions. How difficult does that make the job for you to try and make sure that everyone's kind of like on the same page in terms of, if we play well together, things might actually work out for everyone?
Yeah, I think our big thing is we can't look too far ahead. I think the main job is tomorrow and playing Australia. That's our focus. We can't focus on anything else that's happening in the future. We can only focus on the now, and as a team and this squad that's playing tomorrow, that's what we set out to do. So whatever happens will happen, but we've got a plan. We need to execute our plan, and if we execute our plan, we'll the players will be happy and the coaches will be happy, and that's the most important thing. And then obviously from there on, it's a knock-on effect, to go into the next game, and the coaches will make their decisions on who to pick, who starts, who's on the bench, who doesn't play. That's all up to them, but it's also up to us on our performance tomorrow.
Duane, earlier in the season, just before the test season, there were some articles talking about you as defence coach and maybe writing a obituary or two. Do you feel that you've got a bit of a point to prove tomorrow?
I kind of look 32, don't I? So I'm still keen on playing, man. Brendan, my thing is I want to contribute as much as I can. If it's on the pitch, playing, if it's off the pitch, supporting the guys, if you're helping younger guys coming through, if I can, be a part of this squad, it's obviously the best feeling in the world for me. But that's my personal view. Every guy's got a different view about it. But I would love to contribute in any way I can, and wherever they put me, and and also as long as I can. So if I'm a player, if not, that's up to the guys who make the decisions.
Sorry, Duane, just following on from that, just how are you feeling physically? How's your conditioning? Where do you feel you're at?
Actually, really good. I had a good 2 years at Ulster. I think, obviously, last year, end of year tour, I didn't go on the tour with the Springboks, but they wanted to give younger players like Ivan and those guys also opportunity to see if they can play. But also, I had a good chat with Jock, and they said that Ulster is really managing me well, and they want to continue with that. And so that was was out in the open, and we were very happy with that. And you know, I don't have any strapping on my body anymore. So you know, for the first time in quite a long while, I'm in a good spot and I'm feeling confident. Yeah.
Stick, I just want to find out, under 20s in action this weekend. In the grand scheme of things, as in your role, you keep an eye on the under 20s and potential players that are sort of future Springboks, and the importance of that pipeline continuing?
Yes, from my side, I'm one of the passionate coaches when it comes to the youth and the youngsters. You know. So even when they played the first game against Georgia, I was in Stellenbosch, I went to watch them. And when they also played now the last game against Argentina, we were in our team room and cheering for the boys. And like I said, I got an opportunity to be in their changing room after the first game, you know. And if you look at the manner of the results in the whole competition, you know, where teams are not at their best on a day, you know, even a team like Georgia, for example, they almost took that group, you know. And you look at what Italy has done against us, and you look on the other side also, you know, where the first game, the All Blacks, when they played against Wales, you know, could have went on any side. So from my side, I just like the manner of those boys, the way they're fighting. You know, both games they had to dig deep to win those games against Georgia and also against Argentina. So, but the one thing I must be honest about what I see, that there is great potential. I think our future is in a good space, and compliments also must go to their coaches. You know, Bafana, I know he's got a couple of seasons with that team, but I think with what they're doing, you know, and the fact that they're in the semi-final and playing against Ireland on Sunday, is something that is massive, you know, and not to. If you look at other teams like France, you know, probably one of the best teams currently in the Junior World Cup. You know, so I do follow it very well, and I must be honest and say I like what I see there.
Coach Stocker, just in terms of, I mean, obviously there's a lot of detail floating around between every international team, you know, about opponents, about strengths and weaknesses and stuff. But as a coach, have you found the build-up to this week actually exciting from a coaching perspective, just because for once you're playing really against a bit of an unknown quantity? You know the players perhaps in spurts, you know, from their Super Rugby and stuff, you know, but how they're going to play against Eddie, what they're going to do, you know, has that sort of like that unknown factor been exciting, you know, a bit of a variation for you guys?
I think you're spot on when it comes to excitement, you know, you most especially in the World Cup year, you know, as a coach, that's probably one of the best year you can coach, because players, trust me, you never lack energy. They're always in a good space. Even Duane next to me hasn't missed any training session for the year so far. So as a coach, you are in a good space, you know, because of, like I said, everyone, like Duane said, every player, you know, they're trying to contribute in whatever way they can do, you know, and for us as coaches, you know, I've seen what the likes of Ketley and Moody have done last year, you know, and one thing that I like about the squad that we have selected is the balance of experience with the youth, you know, so I think that's something that we're going to need going forward, you know. And like we always said to people, we're honest about it, that what we've done in 2019 to win the World Cup, we mustn't think that it's the same thing. We need the same thing to win this year, you know. We're going to need to come up with new surprises, you know. And I must be honest and say, even with the youngsters that are in our team, you know, I like what I see. And like Duane has said now, you know, some guys, they're getting opportunity, and some guys, it's a matter of some of them are coming back from the injuries, you know. And from my side, I just like the balance in our team. You know, we've got experience. For example, even if you look at 9 and 10, everyone is talking about Mzwandile, but they don't realize that it's got Kovas, who's been around next to him, who's been around in our system, and they've got Andre also, who's next to Lukanya, you know, who's probably one of the best, you know, in the world. And you look at the back three, you've got Willie Leroux, who's also working with the youngsters. So we had a deep thought before we selected that team. And once again, if you look on the other side of the changing room, they've got 4 new caps. Players that are playing their debuts this week, and they've got Vunivalu at wing, who's only got 1 test cap. They've got a couple of players that are still under 10 test matches, you know, and they've also got their own mission. And we don't have control of how they do things on the other side. But once again, a game between the Springboks and Australia, you know, it's always going to be a test match and a proper one, you know, most especially when you play at Loftus. I think that is an area where, as South Africans, we know we take pride of it, and the fact that it's sold out probably a long time ago. I think the boys are excited. You know, it's a great opportunity for them. Once again, like Duane said, some of the guys that have been played in the while, you know, so it's great. We're looking forward to the challenge.
Duane, my question was similar to that. You know, Eddie's come in, you know him as a coach, but not necessarily how he's going to play. They've got a playmaker back in Quade Cooper, a big boot in Hodge. Do you have to be adaptable in terms of how you see the picture in front of you with Australia?
Yeah, I think that's the word. We've got to be adaptable. I think we can only prepare as much as what we know from last year, them playing in the Rugby Championship and then after in their end of year tour. But obviously, like you're saying, Eddie coming in, he selected a couple of new guys, or well, old heads, but guys coming in, which bring a different flavour to the game. Obviously, Quade Cooper has got a lot of skill, has got a lot of flair, and he would like to also, you know, bring his little circus trick and things that makes him a special player. So, I think for us, we've got our plan, how we want to play. Obviously, they've got their plan that how they want to play, and you know, and then you have to adapt and see what unfolds in front of you. Luckily, we've got some decision making or makers on the field that can say, listen, we've got to get together. You know, let's focus on this. Let's try something like this. He'd say that, defense or attack or things like that. So we've got our plans, and hopefully, you know, like I said earlier, we just need to execute it, and you know, and whatever they bring, we need to stop them.
I was going to ask Stalker something similar, just what you make of the composition of the Australian team. I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag, where you see the dangers.
Yeah. You know, if you look at, for example, I'm actually going to go closer to my department. If you look at their backline, you know, they've got very powerful backline up there. And with the experience of Nick White and Cooper in the 9 and 10 position. So we know they're going to be key for the game. But once again, like Duane said earlier on, is that they've got a plan. We've tried to analyze what in the past how Australia plays. But the thing is now, I don't think it's going to be 100% according to what we saw from the previous season, because of now you've got Eddie, and we know Eddie Jones, how is he as a coach. You know, you always go to the dark places to bring the best out of the players. You know, so we are well aware of this is not a game that's going to be light for both teams. And like I said, with the experience they've got in that team, I think if we are not at our best tomorrow, we are going to have a long day. And I also like the fact that also Eddie is giving also some other players an opportunity in that team, you know, because once again, yes, we want to win the game, we want to win the championship, but at the end of the day, it's a World Cup year also. So you don't always want to play same 23 players week in, week out. By the time you get to probably the first game in the World Cup, probably you won't even have half of your squad, you know. So the key thing is that we have to give all our players in our squad a fair opportunity also to prove themselves that they've got what it takes to go and play in the World Cup. I think that's also what I see on the other side, which is we've got massive respect of Australian side, and I have to go and say it's a very powerful side, and they've got good experienced players around. Thanks.
Coach Stick, obviously you mentioned a bit earlier the combinations. Last year, you know, with the SA team, you experienced exactly how tough it is for a bunch of players to come together who don't really know each other and play together. It's a lot different now with the guys who've been in camp for 4 weeks together, but there are still quite a few unknown combinations. You know, Ori and Jean Clay, Esterhazen, Corbus and Labok. How have those guys been gelling together, and are you guys quite satisfied with the way they're playing at the moment? And do you think that they'll be it will be quite a cohesive team tomorrow? Do you think they'll hit the ground running quite nicely?
Yeah, I think we were in a fortunate position that we could work with them for about 3 weeks, where we were doing conditioning and working on their fundamentals. And to be honest, to me, besides Jean Clay, majority of those players in that team, they've been with us for the past couple of years. Some of them have been tested in and out. You know, some of them have been outside the camp and they proved themselves to come back into our camp. Like you mentioned, the guys like Marvin Ori, you know, we've got a guy like Van Staden at flank, you know, and which is I'm also very happy now he's also getting an opportunity. Once again, when it comes to the combination that I spoke about earlier on, Duane, Peter with Sia Kolisi, they played the World Cup together, you know, and now Sia being out, and then a guy like Marco Verstappen getting a chance now to play amongst the best around him. I think it's something that we didn't take it lightly, so we had to make sure. But unfortunately, when it comes to the combination of Marvin Ore and Jean Clay, it's a matter of we know what they can do. So we don't have any concern about their partnership, and we know with what they've done in the past 3 weeks with our squad, you know, and they actually complement each other, you know, with the way they play the game. Marvin Ore, who's got a very smart when it comes to his lineouts, and then you've got next to him a guy who doesn't stop, he keeps on grinding on the field, who's very tough, you know, like Jean Clay. So I don't think we are very, very concerned at all when it comes to the partnership, you know, because of, like I said, if you look around, there's experience around our team.
Coach, you just lightly touched on it, but the Australians are coming to Pretoria with this kind of new slate, a lot of emotion, I think, as well, because they want to prove a point. They want to show that they, under Eddie, they're going to go start an upward trajectory. Does that emotion, does that make the Australians more unpredictable, or is it something that you guys can exploit tomorrow during the game and maybe get them rattled early on? Because they seem to be coming here with very this emotional mission to topple you guys.
I think it goes back to the point that I've mentioned earlier on about Eddie Jones. When there's Eddie Jones in the check room, there's always going to be surprises. So we don't doubt at all they're going to be up for the game. We don't doubt at all that even the players will be motivated to prove the point and to Eddie Jones and the rest of the coaching staff. And we know he's a very smart coach, you know, and he understands the South Africans very well because of he was working with Jake White in 2007, you know. But one thing is that we as in our squad, we have moved on from 2007, you know, try to tweak things around, you know. So, but I know one thing, that Eddie, he understands our strengths, you know, and the fact that with what he has achieved with England, you know, he's got his thing of going to places and manage to turn things around. So we understand that on that side, the players will want to play for him, and the players will be motivated. And we've had in the past couple of weeks, they've been talking about coming to Pretoria, you know, and changing the history, you know. And once again, they're going to play hard. We've also, in our team, we've also changed history, you know, where we lost in the World Cup in the first game, where people were saying there's no team that has won it before, but we've managed to turn things around. So anything is possible also from their side, you know. And I think that's one thing I know Eddie will be pressing the right buttons from his players.
Chaz, I'm just curious, why have we struggled against Australia since becoming world champs? Is it simply because we're playing them away? I know it's a different team.
I'll talk about my experience, is that since I've coached the Springboks, we have never lost to Australia at all. And when we went to play away, because of certain reasons during the COVID, where there was a season where we were playing all the games in Australia. And I know one thing for sure, when they're playing at home, you know, the tails will always go up when they play at home. But once again, last year, you know, we managed to beat them away from home. So, like I said to you, if you look at the quality in that team, if you are not at your best on the day, they've got what it takes to punish any team. We've seen even end of their tour, they've probably lost against Ireland, probably in the last 10 minutes of the game, you know. They were always up there, and with the big names they've got in that team, if you look at the guys like Nick White, you've got Rupa, who's one of the best open side flankers in the world, Betty, who's very dangerous, we know how powerful he is. So the thing is, Simikiwe, is that but at test match level, more especially in the top 6 teams, I would even go to say top 8. If you are not at your best on the day, you can lose to any side in the top 8. You see, so we've seen Argentina, what they've done in the past. So when I look back, I don't think we played our best games when we lost against them, but I feel like one of the best games we've ever played away from home was the game we played against them. And I don't doubt at all they're also going to come with the same mentality to want to change things when they come to Loftus. So, but yeah, once again, I think the only thing we can control is control how we play also.